Star Wars Outlaws was riddled with controversy from the very beginning, from the first time that people saw the trailers. They weren't interested in the story. And then when the actual game came out, it was a complete and total nightmare. It was a disaster from a functionality perspective. The game just didn't work. It shouldn't have been released in that state. And Star Wars Outlaws, as Ubisoft admitted, was a complete and total failure, a disappointment. Investors were furious about the state of this game and the disappointing sales. Star Wars Outlaws failed to meet Ubisoft's expectations. The company apologizes and promises major fix ahead of Steam release. Because we saw and we reacted to a lot of those clips, Jeremy, about like trying to stealth, and the stealth was just completely broken in the game. It didn't make sense. Glitches galore. And of course, it just did release on Steam just like a day ago. The Star Wars Outlaws Steam version has fewer than 1,000 players at launch.
Jeez.
And as we speak now, they did get up to 1,000 players. I assume it'll get a little bit higher than that probably, but I don't think it's going to do bonkers 3 months after initial release. But do you know how they fixed it, Jeremy? You know, they promised, we're going to fix it, guys. We're going to fix it. We know the stealth's been broken. We're going to fix it for you. Well, they fixed it by fucking removing it from the game. Ubisoft has released the huge and highly anticipated title update 1.4 for Star Wars Outlaws on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, which, perhaps most notably, cuts stealth requirements from almost the entire game.
Jesus.
So something that was broken, something that was promised to be part of the game, something that was advertised as a big part of the game, something they said we promised we're going to fix. Well, the fix is
they cut it out.
They cut it out. You don't actually have to stealth anymore. Don't worry. We know it sucks. So now we just are not going to make you use it. There you go. Cutting content from the game. That's their way of fixing it 3 months after launch.
It's amazing how much current Lucasfilm represents the current games division of Lucasfilm represents current Lucasfilm. Just like back in the day, George Lucas's Star Wars, and how all of these iconic video games that you got through all of those years, even through the downtimes, you got all of these games that people look back on with fond memories. And there were a lot of different style of Star Wars games back then too, versus now. We have not gotten a truly, I guess outside of the Fallen Order games, those are the only two that I think have been kind of universally accepted, right? Since Disney purchased.
That's what I mean.
But they didn't have
a lot of that has to do with which studios are doing things as well.
It does. But like, even still, those games, while had very positive receptions, they didn't turn the needle. Like, I think the Battlefront games sold more copies than the Fallen Order games.
I think that the first Jedi Fallen Order, I do think that turned the needle a little bit. I think that a lot of people were paying attention to it, and it actually like created a new character in the Star Wars universe that people were interested in potentially coming and seeing, you know?
Yeah.
So I do think that one of all of them may have done that. Battlefront obviously is a multiplayer game. I'm not surprised if that sold more copies when it was all said and done than a single player Jedi.
But even with all of the sales for Battlefront, they still and I very much enjoyed both Battlefront games, but they ended up disappointing the majority of people that played them. You know what I mean? Like, people just were not happy with those games for various amount of reasons. You also had other Star Wars games that have released, and just none of them have been able to capture the audience. And then it leads us all up to this horrifically bad game that was nominated for 3 awards at the Game Awards, by the way. Just want to point that out. One of them was Action Adventure, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Was one of them best action adventure game of the year. Can you believe that this was nominated with all of the problems that this game has faced, and it got nominated for best action adventure game? I think I might need to verify that, but
there's like 25 different retarded categories, so it's tough to keep track.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, Ubisoft, they're in big trouble right now. Obviously, Lucasfilm sucks. This character, I was from the beginning when I saw this character and I saw the direction they were going. If you look back on my reaction to the trailer, of course, it's been clipped out and shared all over Twitter 1,000 times. But as soon as I saw this for what it was and being presented the way it was, I was out, because it's not a guarantee, but it almost is a guarantee that when identity politics is at the forefront of a big project like this, that everything else is going to suffer along the way. It's almost a guarantee. Not quite, but you can almost bank it. If you see identity politics at the forefront, and this woman she's a woman of color and she's supposed to be the new Han Solo and she's a badass, at that moment, you can already almost assume that it's going to be it's going to have problems on top of problems in all of these other areas because their central focus is identity politics. And this is where we are with Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah. Congratulations, Star Wars Outlaws. Another failure in the books for Disney Star Wars.
Yep. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Fuck them. They deserve it.